to another edition of Metis Warrior here with Timothy and Alexandria.
Hello, everybody.
And so today we have one hell of a show for you today, as we are going to definitely talk about a couple of key topics here. But before we get into today's show, what we want to do is send some prayers and thoughts out to the innocent people in Ukraine that are actually being under attack and by the nut job Putin.
And I think we all have to remember that innocent civilians are now being targeted, they're being killed, they're being injured, and we have to put it into perspective that they are all fellow human beings. We are all part of the human race, and we should be treated respectfully that way. And thoughts and prayers to the tragic events that are unfolding in the Ukraine. They're fighting for freedom, and really Métis people can relate to freedom and fighting against adversary, fighting against colonialism in there and on what happens to Métis people. But again, we are all human beings. We are all part of the human race, and everybody deserves to have freedom and not to be bombed and be afraid for their lives. And as a mother, I can't even imagine what parents are going through having children in the Ukraine.
And we got to remember the blood of the innocent should never be shed. Innocent people should never be attacked. And we know what happened to our native ancestors when the colonialism was taking place and that whole thing. And a lot of Métis out there, I should say real Métis, can relate and actually send support to Ukraine. Now, you fake ass Métis out there holding them damn fake ass bullshit cards that you got because you self declared, yeah, you might not can relate. Might not can relate to what the indigenous people can relate to. But you're running around with your card that you got by your self declaration with no damn proof that you're Métis, which is one of today's topics that I first want to get started on. Is about how does the people feel? How does our Métis brothers and sisters feel about these people that are self-declaring and getting funding from many different organizations out there? How in the hell does that make you feel? So you mean to tell me that somebody can come in and say, oh, I'm Métis, with no damn proof at all whatsoever of their identity or their claim, and these damn organizations are giving them money? Are you kidding me? That is a bunch of bullshit, because that money belongs to the Métis people. It don't belong to these fake ass Métis that are out there self-declaring and without any damn proof of who the hell you are.
And my opinion on this is self-declaration is a part of applying for a Métis organization, but at the same time, your genealogy has to be included right away. We can't wait years, months for that to follow. Meanwhile, individuals are receiving funding when they're not completing the entirety of the package. I mean, you can self declare, that's fine, but you've got to have the paperwork to back up who you are and not get the money ahead of time and then say you've got X amount of time to prove it. It shouldn't work like that. It's not logical to work like that.
No, it's not. But you got these nut jobs out there running around self-declaring who ain't even got one bit of indigenous anything in them. Not one bit of indigenous anything. Not blood, genealogy, not jack shit. But they self-declaring. And let me tell you this. This is how in the hell our nation is being infiltrated by the masses. We have people out there self-declaring, but don't just put it on these people that are self-declaring. Put it on these damn people that's in charge that are saying, okay, we'll give you money and we'll give you a card. All you got to do is self-declare. And that's how in the hell our damn nation is being whitewashed.
And I know in a past show we did the MMF review on their registry citizenship etc. But I think it would only be fair to have everybody's registries made
I
public.
want to see the damn MNO registry review. That's what the hell I want to see. I want to see Alberta's registry. I want to see Saskatchewan's registry. I mean, I want to see other people's registry. I don't want to just see the damn MMF shit. Send us the rest of the registry. We want to see what you're really about.
And we know that there are problems in almost every single Métis organization right across Canada, but I think we all have to be transparent. We all have to have everything available for the public to see, the public to scrutinize. I mean, that's just in a fair playing field where everybody's cards are on the table. And, before we start throwing stones at one organization or another, make sure that your thing is locked up, sealed tight. You've got your T crossed and your I dotted, and you are beyond reproach before we start casting stones on other organizations. So, I mean, that's just being fair.
Yeah, and that's what it's about. It's about being fair. And we knew that there was problems within the MMF, and we've been addressing those problems, but we have seen change, we've seen progress, and we've seen things going in a better direction. And let me tell you something, the MMF has decided to fly the flags and support Ukraine, and we're 100% supportive of their effort to do that. No, we don't agree with all the MMF views. No, we definitely, this is not an alliance with the MMF just because we support them supporting Ukraine. However, you got to understand that we do support their efforts to support Ukraine by flying the flags, and also their $100,000 donation that they made via the Red Cross for the people in Ukraine. As the other organizations sit by silently, why in the hell are they sitting by silently? What in the hell kind of show of support have they put out there? And if you think, if y'all out there sitting there thinking that Putin's just going to stop with Ukraine, you got another thought coming. This guy has a bigger plan. That seems obvious to me. And yeah, it's just Ukraine's problem right now, but it's actually a worldwide issue. And don't forget, we got a hell of a lot of Ukrainians in Canada right now.
And I think when Timothy was talking about the MMF raising the Ukrainian flag in solidarity, that speaks volumes. And that was an article that was March 1st, 2022. And they recognize that this is really a global issue. And it's just they had an emergency cabinet meeting, and I think this is what David Chartrand said, and I quote: "It was important to fly the Ukrainian colors and to make the donation to support the country because he said ties run deep between the Ukrainian people and the citizens of the Red River Métis." End of quote. But let's elaborate on that further, because there are Ukrainians in every single province in Canada. I had a good friend of mine grew up in Saskatchewan. She's of Ukrainian descent. There's huge Ukrainian population, Saskatchewan, Alberta, BC, right across the Canada. And I think, I've been looking at different Métis organizations, sites and stuff like that. And I think the thing that really has bothered me the most, and it's made me so ashamed and so upset, that there's nothing been posted that I can see on Facebook or Twitter for the MNC, the Métis National Council, that is supposed to be a national organization.
Maybe Cassidy's photographer wasn't there to take the picture when she's posting some shit. I don't know why they haven't, but they damn sure haven't. Maybe there was not a time for the damn photo op.
And again, it's really disheartening. We know that there's been so many problems with the past leadership of the MNC, and to see, there was supposed to be a promise of hope and new blood and a new path for the MNC. I'm sorry, folks, I am not seeing this. And myself and several other Métis individuals have asked questions on social media of Cassidy about certain specific items.
She don't give a shit.
It's been dead silence. And to me, this is not leadership quality. It is. I don't know if they have to ask their puppet master if it's okay to respond to Métis citizens, but if you do not answer questions, legitimate questions of Métis people across Canada, get out of the office. Go somewhere else. And another thing too is I know everybody's excited about going to Rome to see the Pope, get a free, all expenses paid trip. Now is not the time to be doing this
Make sure
and
your
to be
nation's
worrying about
okay.
that and to be getting a photo op. No, now is not the time. There is so much turmoil going on. Get your house in order before you're going to take a worldwide jaunt to another country. And I'm so disgusted about that aspect as well. But I think even more disgusting to me.
Now, we're assuming that she's a puppet. Let's make that clear. There's the assumption that she's a puppet. Because all the signs for us are there, and for a lot of other people are there, that she is not in damn control. As a matter of fact, the comment I made about her with the photo op posting something on Facebook, it is clear she's not posting nothing on damn Facebook for the MNC that we're aware of. We believe someone else is in control of that. So, that was obviously me being sarcastic, I guess you can say, when it comes to Cassidy posting something. But she's the president, and she should have delegated that shit out to get on there on the Facebook and post something. But I guess if you can attach a camera to it, you can't delegate it. So there you go.
Well, I think the lack of other Métis organizations not posting about Ukraine shows a lack of humanity, a lack of compassion. And I think a lot of people, and this is just my opinion, are so detached from what's happening. They figure this is happening thousands of miles away. You know what? It's not going to touch me. But you know what? The next time you're able to see your child and give them a hug and kiss them goodnight and know that they're safe on their way to the school. Remember the children in the Ukraine that don't have that luxury.
Remember the children that were murdered by the Russians.
And again, like I said, kudos to the MMF for raising the Ukrainian flag in solidarity. And I have yet to see any other Métis organization across Canada display the Ukrainian flag. And to me, you should be ashamed of yourself. It is disgusting. And where is your humanity, your compassion for what's going on with another fellow human being? And like I said, there's Ukrainians that have emigrated to every province in Canada. So you know you're not detached. You're choosing to be
Well, actually,
detached.
there's Ukrainians, as Chartrand put it, in our Métis families.
I mean, that he's absolutely correct. And I'll read another quote from President Chartrand, and this is absolutely correct. And I quote: "People of Ukrainian heritage have been neighbors and friends of the Red River Métis for more than 100 years," Chartrand said. "Over those years, many have intermarried with citizens of our nation, which means they are not just our friends and neighbors. In many cases, they are our family." End of quotations. And again, he says, and I quote, "We stand in solidarity with them and do what we can to provide aid." End of quote. Can I ask any other Métis organization, what have you done as an organization to aid the people in Ukraine? Could you please tell us what you're
They
doing?
ain't did shit, man. They're planning for the trip over there to see the damn Pope. I mean, what are you talking about? It's all about them. As Cassidy, man, you listen to her talk. Here's how I'm gonna try to. I'm gonna try to actually give an example of a Cassidy speech. Are y'all ready? Everybody, get ready. Here it goes. Here goes the Cassidy speech. I, 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 I. Can you take my picture? Can you take my picture? I, I, I. Okay, so end of the example there. So it's all about her. It's all about her. It's not about the people. The people that listen to our show, y'all email us all the time. Where in the hell's the MNC financials? We've been asking and asking and asking, and Cassie does not respond. The MNC does not respond. They don't give a shit that you're asking. So as MNC president, she actually needs to step down from that role. She is not an appropriate president. And if she refuses to step down, all the people that put her there, they need to be voted their ass out of office, folks. This is not proper leadership. They put her in there again because it seems to us they picked the weakest person at the table, the one that was easiest to manipulate. It seems to us, and they put her in there so that they can control the narrative and they can control everything because they don't give a shit that our listeners and the people in the Métis Nation want to see the financials.
And you know what? This is again my opinion. This smokescreen of the statement of claim against various people that the MNC and other governing members put together. Uh, you know what? Supposedly there was an audit done. If there was an audit done, this should be made available to the Métis people. And I have asked over and over and over again since Cassidy took office, who is now running the Métis Legacy, Métis Veterans Legacy Fund over a national level? Who is running, and why are you still directing people to go to the MMF? You're squawking about money, you're squawking about this. Who is now nationally running this program? I have asked this question since you took over. Not one single answer on who is running this program. And again, the audacity for her to say, to issue the statement of claim and saying, I will speak of it no further. Bull crap.
So she told you, Métis people, you can kiss her ass. Everybody that wants to know about what's going on, you can kiss her ass. That was the way that she chose to say it when she said, I'll speak about this no more. That is the attitude of this current president. We have reached out numerous times and asked questions, and Cassidy has refused to respond, and the MNC has refused to respond, which means they don't give a shit about us and they don't give a shit about our listeners.
Well, again, like I said, they indicate that an audit was done. So the 2021 financials for the Métis National Council should be due out, I'm assuming, at the end of March. I'm wondering if those are even going to come out. And there's a lot of Métis citizens asking specific questions about where monies are. They must know something, because to issue a statement of claim, again, they had documents, they had information, and myself and a lot of other Métis people across Canada are wondering this question. And this is just an allegation, folks. And this is, we're talking about the previous leadership of the Métis National Council, and we're talking about non-Métis. I'm not even going to call him. He's not a professor. Daryl Leroux. It's he. All over the place. He says that he has worked for the Manitoba Métis Federation. He has worked for the Métis National Council. He's not working for free, folks. He is not
Not that
working
we're
for
aware
free.
of. We make the assumption that he is not. That isn't our opinion. So we want to know, has he been paid?
And
Has he been paid?
has he been paid? And on the MNC financial statements, is it going to be just lumped into professional fees? So we'll never find out how that was broken out. I mean, the citizens have a right to know if he was paid, how much was he paid by the MNC? I mean,
Yeah.
that's a question. I mean, he's a non-Métis, non-Indigenous person that has been used in the past by the Manitoba Métis Federation and the Métis National Council.
You got to wonder, why don't they get a Métis professor to actually do this? Why don't they get one to actually do the research, go out there and do the speeches, and speak to the people about this? And I think the reason for that is, I think about this, I think the reason could be because you're not going to be able to buy that Métis professor. So it is a hell of a lot easier to go out there and pick a non-Métis professor. No, we're not saying Dale Leroux was bought. But what we are saying is, he did write a book, did he not?
He's written several books. I'm
And,
not even going to name the
and,
name. It's just
and,
trash.
and is he not benefiting off our Métis Nation? Matter of fact, here's the question, because you wrote a book, and the MMF. If we can go back, let's take it back. I know Alexandria probably don't want me to talk about this, but I am going to talk about it. If you take it back a few years ago, actually probably 4 years ago, when Alexandria wrote her book, she reached out to the MMF, and this is at the time of release, and their response was, we cannot carry the book if it doesn't have national media coverage. Now, at the time, we was not doing the Métis Warrior stuff at all, and so we were just regular Métis out there, just in the community, blah blah blah. We was not doing the Métis Warrior show, but they wanted national coverage, right? Keep in mind, right after that, it did get national coverage, and it went #1 on Amazon. And let me tell you, that was without the help of the MMF. And one of the things that stands out to me in that issue was that actually Will Goudon, and I remember this and I can respect this, and Will Goudon actually sent an apology letter. He actually regretted that they chose not to carry the book without and give the response to you that they gave. And I still to this day can remember that apology message that he sent to you, and I thought it was very respectful for him to at least send a thing apologizing for that. And but he had no control over that. Obviously, if he did, I'm pretty sure Alexandria's book would have been carried. But here's the thing by the MMF. But here's the thing: how many non-Métis books has these people carried? I mean, come on, man. I mean, Will Goudon's wife, not Métis. Did she write a book? Not Métis that I know of, I should say. I don't believe
She's
that.
not Métis. No, she's not Métis.
Okay, and she's an author. She wrote a book. Did they carry her book? Did they support her book? All right, Daryl LaRoe, not Métis. By his own admission, not Métis. Did he support his book? Well, hell yeah. You know he benefited off of doing work for the MMF.
Well,
And so, how many other non-Métis authors have they supported when they gave you the damn rejection?
well, the thing is, Daryl LaRoe has had many book signing events at Manitoba Métis Federation head office. So
Well,
he's
there you go.
non-Métis, non-Indigenous, but instead of supporting a Métis author,
And a member of the MMF. Alexandria, an author that's a member, a card holding member of the MMF, a Métis author. You told her no, but yet you carry this non-Métis book, and he does book signings at the MMF. And for that, y'all wrong, Chartrand.
well, you know what? The MMF is not the only organization that snubs Métis authors, and if a Métis organization says that they support all Métis artists, they're liars.
Alberta don't.
No, because I actually reached out to Métis Nation of Alberta about one of my books. They asked me if I was a citizen. No, I'm not, but I'm a Métis. So yes, you should support your citizens. You know your citizens that are artists. I agree with that, but you should also support any Métis artist. Embrace them. And Métis Nation of Alberta said, no, we know you're Métis, but we're not going to support you because you're not in Alberta. Well, that's complete bullshit. But then we've got, again, the MMF that does book signings for Daryl LaRoe, non-Métis, non-Indigenous. So, that's just another question. And
And
something
so did he get paid? So just don't forget the question that you asked. Did he get paid? And that should be represented in the MNC
financials.
financials if he got paid, unless he got paid through the MMF. So did this non-Métis professor get Métis funding? And if so, how much Métis funding did he get?
But talking about this again, I mean, uh, Métis organizations using non-Métis, non-Indigenous individuals is totally wrong. And I know there was an article December 3rd, 2020, where they were talking about Ontario remaining the battleground on Métis citizenship, where in the article it says Daryl LaRoe was one of the researchers that was directed by the MMF to undertake a deep dive into the communities of the Métis Nation of Ontario. Was there not any legitimate Métis or Indigenous people that could have did this job? A report was compiled. people don't do reports for free. And when you go to the MMF head office, when your home is in Nova Scotia and you're flying to the MMF head office in Winnipeg, I don't think you're flying on your own dime, and you got to stay in a hotel. I don't think you're putting up all your expenses to promote your book. There's no way you're going to get me to ever believe that.
And it's not even just Daryl LaRoe. It's other non-Métis authors out there, non-Métis people that are benefiting. And one lady out there in particular that I'm thinking about, she's written I know at least one book, and I'm wondering if she even got supported by the MMF, and she's not Métis at all. And so this shows you that if you're not supporting the Métis, uh, authors, then there's a huge problem here. There's a huge disconnect. And if you're not supporting your Métis professors, and you got to use a non-Métis, and here's another reason they might have chose to use a non-Métis professor. What if they use a Métis professor? He's doing all this research, and he finds out, hell, he's got relatives in the East. Well, that wouldn't go over well with him, would it?
No, it all comes to a balance of control, manipulation, and making the kind of sometimes the knowledge go your way, things go your way. Because we know that the Manitoba Métis Federation has people in the states that are tribal members that are also holding a card in the MMF, and it does say in the MMF that you cannot belong to two different Indigenous groups. We do have people, we know of one that is clear as day, but there's favoritism.
They belongs to one indigenous group in the United States, and then yet holds a Métis card with the MMF. Yeah, what? How does that work? What? I don't understand. I'm having a hard time understanding how that works. But it seems like they have a policies out there, and they have hatred towards one side of the fence for doing this, this, and this. But then if you look at what they're actually doing, it's no damn good. I mean, please explain that shit.
Well, this is right from the Manitoba Métis Federation on their website to do with citizenship applications. And there's a question that's asked, and it says, can I have a citizenship with the Manitoba Métis Federation and membership with another Indigenous group? And the answer that the MMF gives you on their website, no. As the Métis are one of the Aboriginal peoples of Canada within Section 35 of the Constitution Act of 1982, and are distinct from other Indigenous people. A person cannot be a member of two different and distinct Indigenous groups. Well, a tribal member is distinct from a Métis person. So this individual that
But it's a good friend. One of them's a good friend of one of the people on the board or higher up there. So obviously, I guess that makes a difference. Hey, is that nepotism? Is that?
it's
I
called
smell I smell nepotism.
it's called you wipe my ass, I'll wipe your ass. And this person that we're talking about is an enrolled citizen in a legitimate band in the United States. So this person, he says all over social media. I mean, the MMF donated money to a GoFundMe for him. So he's a tribal member in the United States and a MMF member.
But I
And
guess as long as you're a good friend.
while it directly contradicts what it's telling people when they're applying for citizenship in the Manitoba Métis Federation. And you know what? I'm really, I'm very disappointed in the lack of direction, lack of transparency, lack of accountability with the Métis National Council. We all had high hopes when the past leadership left, and we thought this is a fresh beginning, firm foundations. But you know what? It really sunk real quick, and it really shows that we don't have somebody in there now that is of leadership caliber to do the job that needs to be done. You're not answering citizens' legitimate questions. You're scooting around issues, and really, the Métis organizations and Métis National Council that have not recognized what's going on in Ukraine, you should be ashamed of yourself. You should be ashamed.
And what I would like to say is we can make a difference, as we said in previous shows. All we got to do is vote these people out of office. They got to be voted out of office. These people are responsible for putting Cassidy in. Guess what? They need to be voted out of office. So you know who you are. The people that'll be candidates that'll be running against you will know who you are. And those candidates should absolutely contact us, because I'm going to tell you this. We have not been heavily involved in elections before, but we will. We had recently got started in getting involved with elections back when with the whole MNBC thing, but now we're going to take it even further. We're going to go even further with it now, and we can make a difference. We see what they have done to us within the MNC. It is wrong. It is wrong. Cassidy needs to be replaced as president. There was plenty of other good candidates. You had even Dean Gladue would have been a good president.
So you need to have somebody that doesn't need to be mentored. This is, again, we've said over and over, this is not a mentorship position. You've got to, come in running, and you got to have your feet firmly on the ground, and you got to do what needs to be done, and you got to support people right across Canada. And this is certainly not happening at all. And whoever is puppeting her around, you're doing a piss poor job. And I'm saying you're letting down the Métis people right across Canada, because you know what? This is turning out to be no better than the leadership that left behind the back door.
Oh, there's no way. I mean, when you look at somebody the caliber of Chartier, regardless of the problems that we had with Chartier, regardless of all the people who contacted us with accusations against Chartier, which if there was any credibility to any of that shit, y'all would actually went on record or actually went through with your complaints or whatever. But there was obviously, I mean, how the hell can we believe you people when we believed you initially with all your accusations, but then when it came time to going on record, oh, I don't want to do that. How in the hell can we believe you? I mean, you come up with all these accusations at the weirdest times. Like, it seems like at political moments that are key, all of a sudden these accusations come up, right? But you look at somebody like Chartier and Chartrand, who have done a lot in the Métis Nation. Cassidy can never reach that level because obviously she's all about the I generation, and all about the herself generation, and not about the in mentality, and not about what's good for the Métis people. If she actually wanted to do the right thing and prove she was not a puppet, we've been asking for the financials for how long? Our listeners have been asking for the financials for how long? She still has not released them.
And you know what, folks? I think a lot of Métis organizations out there have forgotten the sense of kinship and community. I recommend that you sit with an elder, because what's happening on the Ukraine, I don't know what you're afraid of, because Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, where the federal government, where you get your funding from, is out there supporting Ukraine. So if you're worried that the federal government is going to be upset that you're supporting Ukraine, you're wrong, because people have been protesting around the world. And like I said, give yourself a shake. You get millions of dollars from the federal government. I mean, for you can go buy a Ukrainian flag. It's got to be in your budget, and raise the Ukrainian flag. And if you
Even
can't,
if it's got to come out your own damn pocket.
they're probably under $50, and if you can't afford to raise a Ukrainian flag at the Métis National Council office or any other office across Canada, you should be ashamed of yourself. And like I said, it's called being a human being and supporting a fellow human being instead of thinking of yourself. Well, we know, like I said, Cassidy's probably worried about what she's going to wear to Rome to visit the Pope, not about women, children, innocent civilians that are being murdered in a time of war. There's no solidarity with the Métis National Council or any other Métis organization that I've seen supporting Ukraine, except for the MMF and I think another organization in Alberta. I don't remember the name, but give yourself a shake and maybe go sit with an elder, because you know what? You're failing your fellow human man.
And let me tell you this, we are aware that there is politicians, Canadian politicians, that do listen to this show. And I want to speak to you for one moment. If you see that Cassidy is not revealing the financials to the people, This is not her personal bank account. This money belongs to the Métis people, and she's withholding this information. Then what are you going to do about it, political people out there? What are you going to do? One of the recommendations that I would have is completely stop funding to the MNC and those people that put her in charge until they can agree to be transparent to their people. Now, this is to the politicians that we are aware of that do listen to our show. And so this is something that you really need to think about. Now, this time, we're just giving that as an option for a future thing to do if they continue to stop releasing the financials, which, the financials should have been released a long time ago. Screw a selfie, screw taking pictures, give the information to the people.
Well, she's like I said, she's not citizen friendly at all. She doesn't answer questions. Again, with a lot of Métis organizations going the route of self-governance, the MNC really is going to become redundant, unnecessary, and they're going to go the way of the dodo because, like I said, the way it's going with the MNC now, I mean, that ship is sinking real fast, and it's not going to come up for air anytime soon.
And where in the hell is the courage in our Métis nation from our Métis people? Where's the courage? Where is the damn courage? Our show is kind of like one of them guilty pleasure shows. It's kind of like, if you think about it, it's a show that everybody wants to listen to, but a lot of people just don't want to publicly admit that they listen to us. That's a lack of courage, ain't it? Like, you send us emails and you support us, but then when it comes to publicly, you're like, should I say I listen to that show? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we're Métis Warrior. We're raising the questions for you that you email us to ask. But then when it comes down to it, where in the hell is your courage? We put our ass on the line for the Métis people. Where's your courage? Where's your courage at? Where's your courage to step up and do the right thing? I'm sick of it, man. I mean, it's like people, yeah, you don't want to, I don't know.
You know what? I'll put this into perspective. I think a lot of Métis people, a lot of Métis leaders, and a lot of Métis organizations can take a lesson to what's happening in the Ukraine. You have citizens that are standing in front of tanks and saying, "Get out of our land. We want our freedom." Maybe grab some courage from these citizens that are fighting for their life and fighting for courage, because I don't see any courage in the Métis Nation right now. I see self-serving people that are on some kind of a podium there, that it's all about me, me, me. Take a look at what's happening in the news. That's what you call real courage. And you may want to suck it up and maybe take a lesson from what's going on, because there's none of it out there.
Very, very few warriors in our Métis Nation today, and that has not always been the case. And it's a damn shame. It is a damn shame. But our elders out there, we know that some of you do not have social media accounts. We've heard from y'all. We know that y'all are actually very supportive of our show, and it's great. We're glad that y'all are listening to our show. But here's the thing that you need to know: get all your paperwork together for the elections. We will be telling you who's the bullshit candidate and who's the true candidate when elections times comes. So get all your stuff, and actually, to all Métis out there, make sure all your shit's together so you can vote. That is key to making the difference.
And you know what, people? There's a lot of people that can talk the talk, but there's not a lot of people that can walk the walk. So that's what we're seeing out there, is a lack of unity, integrity, and just, again, kinship and community. I mean, there's no courage for a lot of people out there, very few warriors out there that are fighting for rights and transparency and accountability. And people like to flap their gums about this and that, but when it comes to standing in the front lines, they're running and they're going to hide behind somebody because they don't have the guts or the courage.
And yeah, a few shows back, everybody thought that we were going to throw in the towel, that we were just going to be done with the show. and everybody wanted us to keep going. Well, you need to keep going with us. You actually need to join in with us and help when elections come and help to make the change, because we have a new fire lit under our ass now, and there is a possibility that we can definitely make change within the Métis Nation. But it's going to take everybody joining together to do this. And when it comes to the elections, you got to vote for the right candidate, not because, oh, we need this person likes this person. No, you need to make your mind up yourself and actually listen to the facts for each candidate, because we're going to bring them to you, the facts, and you need to make the right decisions and cast the right vote for the future of the Métis Nation.
That's right, folks. So again, the next time you go out for your expensive cup of coffee, your expensive lunch or whatever, dig into your petty cash. I'm sure you can afford a Ukraine flag to fly it, even if it's got to be a little small one. You don't have the balls to put it up in your office. I mean, make the effort to support humanity.
Or donate money to the Red Cross. The MMF has gave $100,000 via the Red Cross for the Ukrainian people. I don't know if anybody's actually watched those mothers and children coming across that border, and they got to sit there and find them shelter and food. The Russian military is in Ukraine robbing their stores of their food, and here we got people who have had to flee their country, who are now needing food and supplies. So do the right thing, because it wasn't that long ago before the native peoples was attacked on their own land and colonialism was forced, and their children were butchered and our ancestors were butchered. And you got to understand that that was wrong, and what's happening in Ukraine is wrong. Period. Real Métis know that. But again, the fake ass self declaring people with no proof of who the hell they are, yeah, they're going to be silent. They're going to be against Ukraine.
So, as we sign off to this show today, folks, again, thoughts and prayers to everyone in the Ukraine. And remember, when you go to sleep tonight, as you tell a story to your child, give them a hug and kiss. At least you have the privilege to do that. You have the freedom to do that. And what's happening in the Ukraine, they don't.
That's it for me.
Goodbye.